Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Derek Phillip Moore, and I thank you very much for your time. And we will discuss Roc-a-fella Records and Live Nation and the creation of Rocnation. Rocnation was created through successful negotiations, and through those successful negotiations, we see a 360 deal for mutual benefits and future relationships. Superstar artist and entrepreneur Jay-Z keeps seeing a decline in album sales, and Live Nation feels that they have an answer to his problems. Sign a 360 deal, which traditionally artists are taught to stay away from. This is because artists will have to give a percentage of everything away, from merchandise, royalties, ticket sales, anything off of album sales, and basically anything that they touch on anything that they do. It could be from a song to a shirt, and the artist was usually taught to stay away from these type of deals because they could do a lot of the stuff themselves independently. Jay-Z has a lot of ideas for ventures, which include buying a professional basketball team, artist management, and a new record label. But he does not want to risk financing these projects. Live Nation has no problems with the upfront capital, but does not know how to and does not want to run a record label, or they don't even have the contacts or the interest in purchasing NBA teams. Now, Live Nation is a company that's known to be a giant in concert promotions. Superstar concert investment returns are a coin flip these days. Sometimes we you're gonna they'll put their money in and they'll have a great concert. However, they don't generate enough revenue from the sales of the tickets and things like that from certain shows, and therefore it could be at a loss. To a company such as Live Nation, and they've seen this in the declining industry of album sales these days in the recession that we're facing. Also, they've recently invested already in two 360 deals with superstars, and these superstars are superstars. It's Madonna and U2. And again, they gave the same type of deal when they gave cash up front as an advance in order for them to have a 360 lock onto their contracts and onto all of their onto their merchandising and publishing and things like that. So they're already invested. Also, they're still looking for a way to evolve with the entertainment industry. As we know, album sales are going down, digital sales are going up, CDs, they're thinking about stopping making CDs altogether this coming year. And the entertainment industry on a commercial level has been slow about catching up with iTunes and the digital releases and digital generation. Therefore, it's given it increasing popularity for independent artists to be able to come up and also an even playing field and platform for independent artists to release their artists' albums, and independent record labels to release the artists' albums in records. Jay-Z is a hip hop superstar, but he is also in the recessed music industry. His last two albums also has seen a significant decline in sales, from 3 million to 2 million down to 1 million. And but he is an innovative artist. He is also a record label executive of not only his label but also of Def Jam. He's a producer, an executive producer, and he's also a clothing line designer. He wants to retain as much ownership of his music as possible, and he wants to operate much like an independent artist and be able to have the freedom to make, produce, and edit and put his music out there and share his talent with the world as he sees fit. Now, the thing that they needed to focus on in this negotiation deal was the objective criteria. Now, Live Nation's objective criteria was really to increase their revenue, reduce the risk in the concert, so that's not like a coin flip. Uh, big advancements give out big advancements in return for all future artist dealings, which was their big leverage that they had, and also to reduce the risk in concert promotions. I mean, in the concert area, was that even if album sales go down or if concerts go down, they could just increase the amount now that an artist can go on tour, or the amount of singles that's out. They have actual control over the amount of like merchandise that they could go out. So now, instead of getting revenue from just one stream or one flow uh, of one area, they could make up for low cash flow or low streams of revenue in one particular area from another area, especially in a recessed market. So it reduces the overall risk. And again, their leverage is that they want to give out a lot of money, because they know that artists are taught to stay away from these type of deals, these type of 360 deals. But they're hoping that if they could get their money out there now, that it could build a brand. It could do more than just get money for them on their return. That it could actually build a brand for them in the future. Jay-Z, part of his objective criteria is that he wants to increase revenue, reduce risk from album sales, and he wants cash paid up front for his time because he is a superstar, and he wants to be able to work as an independent artist again, without much hassle from the corporate industry, forcing him to commit and to do certain things that he doesn't want to do, because again, he's an executive and he has a vision. As a CEO, he has visions, and he wants to go ahead and implement those visions. And so, as you can see here with the objective criteria, if you look just here on objective criteria, they have a lot of the things that already match. They already have mutual benefits if they could go ahead and stick to this objective criteria. And sticking to the objective criteria when entering a negotiation, they will realize and they will be able to enhance those mutual benefits. And the mutual benefits in this deal, I mean, is that you get an artist such as Jay-Z, and you get a lot on all his merchandise and his follow. Also, Jay-Z in return is getting about 775,434 shares in the company, and also has an additional option for 500,000 shares for a price of $13.73. And the shares are actually down currently today in Live Nation, below that rate. So in the future, it's in Jay-Z's best interest to also perform as well as he can, to go ahead and get the shares up in Live Nation, because Live Nation is dependent on his future success, and he's also dependent on their future success. And the way they was able to go about closing this deal was separating the people from the problem. Now, Jay-Z, there is a problem, and the problem is the decline in sales in the industry of album sales, and concert sales and things like that. Now, with Jay-Z, is that we was able to still, even though that we could significantly see a decline in his numbers on album sales, they was able to separate him from that problem and still see past that he's still an entrepreneur, and not only an entrepreneur, but he's successful in other areas. So if album sales are weak, his clothes are selling. If his clothes are selling, then if his clothes aren't selling, then his artists are selling. He's somehow making up for his lack or his lack of profit margins in any particular area. And also, Live Nation requesting a 360 deal. Jay-Z could have just brushed them off already to begin with, and said, no, who do they think I am? I'm Jay-Z. I'm not thinking about a 360 deal. But separating the people from the problem, he also sees that there's a problem, and he needs another way to get his to fulfill his dream, of which is being able to put his vision out there to the world without no restrictions or no barriers, and that barrier is mainly financial in his realm. So in that, Live Nation is able to produce and fulfill that financial need. And this ultimately builds relationships. And the relationship that's given here is that we can discuss real quick is given through autonomy. I mean, they're letting Jay-Z, they're allowing Jay-Z to be Jay-Z and still create his own label and still be the the venture entrepreneur that he is. And at the same time, they're not stepping in trying to be record label owners and things like that, because they don't want to. And that's part of the mutual benefit, is that through that autonomy and doing what they do, their main thing is sticking with concerts and concert promotions and things like that. But they still get to generate all the revenue and get all that revenue from Jay-Z's expertise. So they could get to utilize, they pay him up front and give him the tools basically needed to create a masterpiece. And from that masterpiece, they get a huge percentage of that masterpiece after everything is recouped back. And the thing about it is $150 million, but a lot of it is in advance, which also has to be recouped back. It's sort of like a loan. And also, if Live Nation even breaks even or comes close to it, they're in good shape for the future because of the brand, and more 360 deals we'll see being made by superstar artists and maybe more independent artists, and they won't be as scared or nervous to get into these type of deals. And also, Jay-Z gets to act again on his own visions without the worries of any type of overhead finance, and has the privilege to act as if he is an independent artist. So what went wrong in the deal? Now, the upfront $150 million may be too much for both parties, as we stated, because you have to be able to recoup this money in some way. An advance is really just an advance. It's a $150 million loan. In time, over this 10-year deal, this money will have to be paid up in order for any profits to start being seen for either side. And that's basically what I feel is maybe went wrong. It's a little bit too much money went out, but only time could tell. I mean, the stocks are down and things like that for Live Nation, but compared to how it was forecast when it was first given out as IPO, however, only time can tell again. Now, what went well? I mean, we have many mutual benefits. I mean, again, even though the stocks are down now, I mean, Jay-Z ultimately has to work hard for this company because he's a vested member into this company. And also, as we can see, Roc-a-fella Records was even able to brand themselves with Live Nation and become Rocnation together in their name. And in the future, I mean, Rocnation and anything with the name Nation at the end of it might be big and powerful within the entertainment industry. And we can see that relationships are being developed and cultivated. I mean, having Madonna, U2, and Jay-Z already, you already have a lock on music, the music industry. You have a lock on an empire right there. So you're just building on your relationships with future generations. And with and again, with that stock, I mean, they're going to be invested into that stock and trying to get that stock to go as high up as possible. And the ultimate thing that I think that went well is that they achieved the objective criteria on all areas for both parties, which again goes back into mutual benefits, of course, going back into creating relationships and also going back into autonomy.